Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and I have an interesting game for you played by Mikhail Tal against Stanislav Winter. The game was played in 1960 in Prague. This was a radio simul and Tal started the game with e4, e5 by Winter and f4. Mikhail Tal goes for this hyper-aggressive King's Gambit. Though Mikhail Tal is considered to be one of the greatest attacking players of all times, but in his whole career Tal chose this opening only a few times. The King's Gambit was one of the most popular openings for over 300 years, but is infrequently seen at a high level nowadays, as black can obtain a reasonable position by returning the extra pawn to consolidate. Black captured on f4, we see King's Gambit accepted, knight f3, d5, he takes d5, knight f6 and bishop b5 check. In 2010 against Wang Yu, instead of playing bishop b5 check, Carlsen played bishop c4, and then the game progressed in the following move order and finally Magnus Carlsen managed to win the game. Let's go back, but after knight f6, Mikhail Tal went for bishop b5 check, c6, d takes c6, b takes c6, bishop c4, knight d5, white castles kingside, bishop d6, black pieces are overprotecting this pawn on f4 square, knight c3, bishop e6, knight e4 and bishop e7. Black is keeping alive his dark square bishop, but actually it was better to castle kingside. And of course this knight takes d6 move can't cause black any problems. Instead, after knight e4, bishop e7 was played. Bishop b3, knight d7. Again, it was not too late to castle kingside, but knight d7 is on the board, d4, knight f6, knight g5 and bishop g4. Already, instead of playing bishop g4, if castling kingside, then white can capture on e6 and then play knight g6, and black can face serious problems because white can target the pawn on e6 square easily. Let's go back. That's why after knight g5 we first see bishop g4, queen d3 and knight d7. Already this is move 14 and we can see that still black is overlooking this castling kingside. When your opponent is going for King's Gambit, you have to understand that white has very aggressive intentions. Moreover, when your opponent is Mikhail Tal, of course it's very important to bring your king on a safer square as soon as possible. But instead, after queen d3, knight d7 was played. Bishop takes d5. Instead of capturing on d5, the engine suggests knight takes f7. A very aggressive move, and after this knight sacrifice on f7 gives white a huge advantage. Actually, white can unleash a very dangerous attack, but as this was a chess simul, okay, Mikhail Tal overlooked that move and he captured on d5. C takes d5, bishop takes f4, h6, and only now Mikhail Tal goes for this knight takes f7 move. Looks very impressive, but my engine suggests a move which is actually stronger than knight takes f7. Stockfish 9 suggests rook e1. The idea is that if h takes g5, then bishop d6 and black can face serious problems. Again, we can see that black king stuck in the center of the board is becoming an easy target for white pieces, and if a move like bishop e6, then white can go for this dazzling rook takes e6 move. If f takes e6, then queen g6 check, and then black king is simply getting checkmated. Let's go back, but after h6, Mikhail Tal played knight takes f7. Let's see how is he going to organize his attack. King takes f7, knight e5 check, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, discover check, bishop f6, rook f4. Both attacking the bishop and at some point also freeing the f1 square for the other rook. h5, now comes h3. Bishop e6 and g4. Mikhail Tal is choosing a very ambitious line. He's exposing his king side in order to target black king, but this can actually give black counter-attacking chances. Right now the threat is g5, h takes g4 was played, h takes g4 and rook h4. Not the best continuation, it was better to play rook h6. If g5, then rook g6. And after king f2, black can simply win this pawn on g5 square and black has an advantage. But after h takes g4, rook h4 was played. Rook f1 and rook takes g4, which is a fatal mistake. It was very important to move away the king from this dangerous f-file. If bishop takes f6, then g takes f6. If queen g6 check, then king h8. Though white's attack looks very scary, but still black is holding. Of course, you can't capture on f6 with the rook because of this rook g4 fork. Let's go back. After rook f1, we see rook takes g4 check. And now we see the exchange of rooks on g4 square, after which the queen jumps on h7 square. White is pinning the pawn on g7 and is threatening to capture on f6. King e6, queen g6, still keeping the pin, and at the same time is threatening to capture on g4. Bishop h3 and rook f3. Looks like that white managed to trap the bishop on h3 square, and protecting the bishop can be very dangerous because of this rook e3 move, and again black is facing serious problems. After rook f3, black played queen e7, and after bishop takes f6, black's position is starting to collapse. White is winning black queen, now comes queen g7, the queen is coming after the pawn on a7, bishop f5, queen b7, and black resigned. If rook g8 check, then simply king f2, black is losing one more pawn, either the pawn on a7, or white can also play queen c6 check and win this pawn. And together with these mighty passed pawns, white can easily finish up black. That's why understanding all this, after queen b7, Tal's opponent resigned. Another hyper-aggressive game played by the magician from Riga, though there were some inaccuracies, but let's not forget that this was a chess simul, and those type of inaccuracies are common in this format. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave your comments, and for more games, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Good luck.